May 8, 1942, the USS Lexington, America's second aircraft carrier, slips beneath the waves of the Coral Sea after the first carrier battle in history. For 76 years, we believed we knew her story. Torpedoed by the Japanese, scuttled by her own escorts, settled on the seafloor on an even keel. But when an underwater drone reached the wreckage 2 miles down in 2018, what it captured contradicted everything. The ship didn't sink the way we thought, and the real killer wasn't what the history books told us. 216 men died with the Lexington that day. Captain Frederick Sherman ordered abandoned ship only after it became clear nothing could save her. Survivors spent 76 years believing they understood why their ship went down. The Battle of Coral Sea was the first naval engagement where opposing fleets never sighted each other. Pure carrier warfare. Lexington's loss represented America's first carrier casualty in this new form of combat. The lessons from her sinking directly influenced carrier design for the rest of World War II. Here's why the truth matters. The accepted narrative blamed enemy torpedoes and bombs for her destruction. What the underwater drone revealed challenges that fundamental assumption. Understanding what actually killed the Lexington changes our comprehension of carrier vulnerability and early war damage control failures. The USS Lexington vanished into 10,000 feet of water, 500 miles off Australia's eastern coast. For over 7 decades, her exact resting place remained unknown. The Coral Sea is vast, the depth is crushing. Finding a single wreck in this underwater desert seemed nearly impossible. Enter Paul Allen's research vessel, Petrel, and its secret weapon, the Hydroid Remus 6000 autonomous underwater vehicle. This AUV is depth rated to 6,000 meters, nearly 20,000 feet. It's equipped with EdgeTech side scan sonar operating at 75 and 230 kilohertz frequencies. The Remus can map over 100 square kilometers in a single deployment. At the time, it was the only privately owned AUV of its kind on the planet. On March 4th, 2018, the sonar return showed something, a massive object, the right dimensions. The RV Petrel then deployed its remotely operated submersible, an ROV capable of transmitting high-resolution video and navigation data from 2 miles down. What came back on those video feeds left the expedition team stunned. The wreck was confirmed when the ROV located the nameplate on the stern. But here's where the story takes a turn. The technology revealed something no one expected. Historical records state the Lexington sank on nearly even keel by the bow. Survivors watched her slip beneath the surface in one piece. That's the image preserved in official action reports and veteran testimonies for 76 years. An intact ship descending gracefully to the seafloor. The underwater drone footage told a completely different story. The USS Lexington doesn't lie intact on the Coral Sea floor. She lies in 3 separate sections. The main hull section rests upright, but the bow and stern sections lie a mile to the west, positioned across from each other. The bridge section sits by itself, isolated between the 3 primary pieces. A mile separates these sections, not feet, not yards, a full mile. This contradicts every eyewitness account. Ships that sink on even keel don't break into 3 pieces scattered across a mile of seafloor. The separation suggests catastrophic structural failure, either during the sinking or from massive internal forces that ripped the ship apart before she even reached bottom. The drone revealed that the Lexington's death was far more violent than anyone realized. When expedition members saw the scattered sections on their monitors, the historical narrative they'd relied on crumbled. The Lady Lex didn't go quietly. She was torn apart. Standard procedure during carrier emergencies. Jettison aircraft to reduce topside weight and fire hazards. Yet historical records are vague about exactly how many aircraft went down with the ship or where they might be located relative to the wreck. The underwater drone found 11 aircraft in a concentrated area further west from the main wreckage. 7 Douglas Devastator torpedo bombers, 3 Douglas Dauntless dive bombers, 1 Grumman F-4F Wildcat fighter. Despite 76 years underwater at crushing depth, these aircraft display stunningly intact features. The concentration pattern is significant. These weren't randomly scattered during the sinking. Their positioning suggests they slid off the flight deck as the ship listed or broke apart. A mass exodus of aircraft as the carrier's structure failed. The drone footage provides forensic evidence of the Lexington's final moments that no survivor could have witnessed from their lifeboats. And get this, the 5-inch anti-aircraft guns remain in train, staring blankly at the open ocean as if ready to fire again. Rifling is still discernible in gun barrels after 76 years. The after end of the flight deck is unmistakable. Here's what the history books emphasize. Japanese carrier aircraft attacked the Lexington during the Battle of Coral Sea. She took torpedo hits. She took bomb hits. Fire broke out. Eventually, she had to be scuttled. The narrative is simple. Enemy action sank the ship, but the USS Lexington's official war damage report tells a radically different story. At 12:47 p.m. on May 8, 1942, a massive internal explosion ripped through the Lexington. And get this, before this explosion, the ship's executive officer reported everything was well under control. Full propulsive power was available. Steering was okay. The ship was on an even keel, and all fires were either out or under control. The Lexington was winning her fight for survival. Then, in an instant, everything changed. The war damage report states plainly, from this time on, the ship was doomed. The real killer wasn't torpedoes, it was gasoline vapor. Here's the sequence. Japanese torpedoes struck near the port gasoline storage tanks, creating small structural leaks. Gasoline and seawater mixture began seeping through distorted bulkheads and deck plating into interior compartments. The ship was sealed in Condition Z, full watertight integrity, which meant ventilation was restricted. Gasoline vapors accumulated silently in the IC motor generator room. At 12:42 p.m., just 5 minutes before catastrophe, intense gas fumes were reported in the general workshop and Chief Petty Officer Messing Spaces. Personnel evacuated those areas, but no one in the IC room, central station, or forward distribution room reported fumes. The vapors were invisible, odorless at certain concentrations, rising through ventilation supply ducts. At 12:47 p.m., operating electrical machinery in the generator room produced a spark. The accumulated gasoline vapor ignited. The explosion killed 25 crewmen instantly and knocked out the main damage control station. The flash entered the gasoline control room and ruptured ventilation ducts, transmitting the explosion throughout the ship. 8-inch diameter vent pipes that had been capped before battle were ripped open. 27 torpedoes stored on the torpedo mezzanine couldn't be removed due to elevator failure. Their warheads detonated in secondary explosions. Ships 20 miles away felt the effects. The most devastating part, the underwater drone footage of those 3 separated sections provides visual confirmation of exactly how violent this internal destruction was. The enemy damaged the Lexington, but gasoline vapor killed her. What makes this particularly tragic is the timing. 5 minutes separated the first fume warnings from total catastrophe. 5 minutes where the sealed condition of the ship prevented detection in critical compartments. 5 minutes where approximately 25 personnel in the IC room never smelled anything wrong. The real kicker is that this vulnerability was known but not fully understood. Early carriers converted from battle cruiser hulls carried aviation gasoline in tanks originally designed for fuel oil. The ventilation systems weren't engineered for vapor management. The watertight integrity protocols, designed to prevent flooding, actually trapped the deadly fumes. But here's where it gets complicated. Even if damage control teams had detected the vapors earlier, could they have vented the spaces without compromising watertight integrity during active combat? The decision would have meant choosing between explosion risk and flooding risk. With Japanese aircraft still in the area and torpedo damage already sustained, opening ventilation hatches might have doomed the ship anyway. Bottom line, the underwater drone revealed a truth that 76 years of history had obscured. The USS Lexington wasn't sunk by Japanese torpedoes and bombs. She was destroyed by her own fuel system, a catastrophic design vulnerability that nobody fully understood in 1942. The 3 separated sections lying a mile apart on the Coral Sea floor are forensic evidence of internal explosions so powerful they literally tore a 40,000-ton aircraft carrier into pieces. The drone footage shows those 5-inch anti-aircraft guns still in train, rifling still visible in the barrels after 76 years, frozen in the moment of her death. What historians thought was a combat loss was actually a tragic lesson in carrier design, one that would lead directly to carbon dioxide purging systems on every American carrier that followed. The Navy learned, but the Lexington paid the tuition. The underwater drone's discovery of the USS Lexington rewrites our understanding of early carrier warfare. The scattered wreckage proves the violence of her end. The intact aircraft show how quickly the disaster unfolded. The war damage report, combined with the drone's forensic evidence, reveals that 5-minute window between the first fume warnings and total catastrophe, a window where the sealed condition of the ship prevented early detection. 216 men rest with the Lexington in the Coral Sea. The site is a war grave, protected under international maritime law, but the drone footage ensures their story is finally told accurately, not as victims of enemy action alone, but as casualties of a design flaw that the Navy didn't yet know how to prevent. Their sacrifice led to engineering changes that saved countless lives on carriers that came after. It makes you wonder what else lies hidden beneath the Pacific, not by depth, but by assumptions we never questioned. What other wrecks hold evidence that contradicts the stories we've been telling for 80 years? How many more times will underwater drones force us to rewrite naval history? The technology had finally arrived to hear what the Lexington had to say, and what it revealed left historians speechless. What do you think about this revelation? Could better damage control have saved the Lexington in those critical 5 minutes? Drop your thoughts below, subscribe for more deep-sea discoveries, and let us know what wreck we should investigate next.